All right, all right. So we're gonna go through some Homer headlines this week. Obviously, we don't have any games to talk about yet, but with the rosters being finalized, at least going into week one, we can take a look at those rosters and see if there's anything exciting in there. Myself, as someone that was, only became a lifelong diehard fan just last year, you gotta us casual fans, we gotta find a reason to engage and get excited. So I spent a little bit combing through the rosters, looking for players that maybe, the common fan might go, oh, wait a second, I know that name. What's he doing in the league? Let me check this out. And so I went through the rosters of all the teams, and for the most part, found a couple guys on every team. One team, actually two teams, I really didn't find much, but that's okay. We'll start with those Renegades, a couple guys that we can talk about right off the bat. Although I will say, one thing the UFL's got to fix, they need someone in their marketing department or that's doing their SEO to make sure that current links are popping up. When I first tossed in a couple searches for current rosters, the first thing that popped up was the link to the 2025 rosters. Last I checked, it's 2026. Now, it wasn't too hard to then go to the page, click on the team, click on roster. But if it was in the headlines, week one starting this week. It's in the headlines. It's coming up. All right. Is there anyone that I might get excited about? I'm just going to do a quick search like that so I don't have to go clicking through everything and see what pops up. So there might be some people that are confused that might tune in and they'll looking for guys that aren't in the league anymore. So come on, UFL. That's too much the old UFL. Let's get that fixed. But go ahead, Nick.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying that's one of the most frustrating things with the UFL, and I hope they get that fixed. It's just stat gathering, research, and things like that. UFL, please do something about that, because people like us that want to talk about the league, it helps a lot to keep our accuracy up, and it's hard to be accurate if we don't have proper information or have to scavenge harder to go find it when it could be posted on ESPN like it is in the NFL. I'm right there with you, Rob.
Yeah. Oh, and they got to do much better. Hopefully, they do better with stats this season. They're almost impossible to find last season. Hire a couple stats guys. Come on, get some interns out of like some of the top sports information departments in the country. Get a couple interns. Come on, let's go. Not that hard. You would think. You would think. But I don't know. I'm not running the league office right now. In Ripley, we think we trust. Maybe we'll find out.
We're going to
start with the Renegades. Besides some players we've already talked about, a couple names jumped out to me. One was Denzel Mims, wide receiver. He was taken by the Jets in the second round back in 2020. He got traded to the Lions in 23, and then he kind of bounced around the league. He has been in this league a little bit. He's been on the Battlehawks, but now he's technically one of the bigger names because he was someone that I know a lot of people took a flyer on in their fantasy team a couple times because of his high draft stock coming into the NFL. So we'll see if he's going to be a good outlet for Luis Perez going into this season. So that's a name to keep an eye on. Another one to look at on the other side of the ball, Nick, it's another former Cowboy. And it's fitting, because it's Tuesday. It's Taco Charlton. All right. Taco Charlton, he former first-round pick of the Cowboys back in 2017, someone who did get a first-round grade leading into the draft, but most Cowboys fans were not excited when he was the pick at all, and then he did very little to change that at all in Dallas. And he fell out of favor within 2 years, struggling at playing time. They went ahead and go ahead, yeah.
I'm sorry, Rob. I'm not trying.
No,
my bad.
You go. No,
real quick on Taco Charlton. It was really weird though. He did play with us last year, but then I guess it's a signing because he left us and then came back. Mm-hmm. I guess I kept on seeing free agent pickups. And I was like, we already had Taco, but
yeah, I think
he's not. He's not a bad UFL player, by the way. He's actually really good in the UFL. stay away from the Cowboys, Taco. Never come back.
Yeah, I don't think he's one of those guys. Also because he's older. Again, 2017 was when he got drafted. We're now in 2026. So he's most likely he's not someone that's showcasing for another chance. He's more of one of those guys that he doesn't want to hang him up yet. That's not to be said that a team that might get thin at defensive end if he balls out this spring might not bring him in for camp, but he's just not ready to hang it up quite yet. So then we're going to bounce over to the Birmingham. We're mostly going to go alphabetical order the rest of the way, but I figured let's start with our Renegades. The Birmingham Stallions, their returning quarterback is a name that most people should know. Matt Corral out of Ole Miss. Also, going through these rosters, Ole Miss is apparently a factory for the UFL. Every single team has multiple players on them from Ole Miss. So you can't say that about Texas, Oklahoma, not really about Bama.
I was going to say, is that a selling point for Ole Miss? You think it should be? I mean, it's professional.
Play
sports.
At the next level. They can play at a next level. Also, Ole Miss did just have their best year ever. And as long as they're not playing Texas, good for them if they can keep that success going. I expect both them and Vanderbilt to fall back to the pack this year in the SEC football, and everyone will be looking up at Arch Manning as he crushes everybody. But, that's just my opinion. So, yeah, Matt Corral, once again, is the starting quarterback for the Stallions. He was on again, off again, the starter last year. Looks like he is going into this season. He's going to be the starter. So let's see if he can hold on to it. He had a good chance in the NFL, but he had some personal issues that really blew it. And then from there, that's just where we are at. So Matt Corral. The other name that jumped out to me, which was interesting, Stephen Gilmore. He's a cornerback. He's out of Marshall. Why that name's interesting? He's got a brother. His name's Stefan. Last name Gilmore. Also plays defensive back. So in the secondary. So it's kind of fun to see. It's always fun to compare brothers. Not the other lesser brother compared to a more famous football brother we'll talk about today. But yeah, that's what we got for the Stallions.
Well,
so yeah, any thoughts on those guys? I don't know about Matt Corral, but if he's still starting by week 4, then he's starting to turn something around.
I love Matt Corral just because he has a cannon of an arm, but where that ball goes, no one knows. And he is a little bit interception prone. But if they have an offense with AJ McCarron, we'll see how that works out. That is structured well with him. He can. I mean, he could ball out. You just need to get him honed in, and he's deadly accurate. He's got an NFL arm. Love watching Matt Corral play. Love watching it. Just don't know where the ball's going. Decision making's a question mark.
Yeah. So then we go over to the Columbus Aviators. Not a lot of names that jump out to you at all. One of their quarterbacks, though, does. Aiden Sayan. He went to Penn from the Ivy League. Clearly a powerhouse football program, right? They're not even a powerhouse in the Ivy League. But do we know, Nick, any idea why he is someone that I circled?
It's
college football related.
So Texas, he was an ex-Texas player. No.
He is the older brother of Julian Sayin, who is the starting quarterback. He was a true freshman this year for Ohio State and played very well. There's either people are Arch Manning's the best, or they're saying Julian Sayin's the best when it comes to the top quarterback going into this year in college football. So that's interesting to see another brother trying to thrive and maybe find his way into an NFL camp. That's kind of cool. Next up, the DC Defenders. They really don't have any names that pop out to the casual fan, unless you caught some headlines last year for my favorite player in the league, Jordan Tiamo. Chiamu returns, still doing his thing. If he continues to do his thing, and an NFL team doesn't bring him to a camp, I really don't know what's going on anymore. But I think he's pretty good. But other than that, a lot of people, you'd be like, I don't know. But they got Shannon Harris back as head coach, and this team is they're going to be probably, at least for the first half of the season, I would imagine, be favored in every one of their games until it's proven otherwise. So just because they don't have a name that jumps out doesn't mean it's not worth watching them play. It really is. That they're a very good gateway into the UFL for the casual fan.
Real.
All right. Then we got Houston. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Then we got Houston, now the Gamblers. All right. A couple names popped out. The one that popped out for me, another brother thing. It's Talua. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Tagovailoa, Tua's younger brother. He balled out at Maryland for several years. He was at Bama, and then Bama's like, you're not quite good enough and you want too much money. So he pieced out to Maryland. He hasn't really spent any time in Houston's camp. He just got picked up. So I don't expect him to be starting anytime soon. But I think they just said, you know what? We got one of the coaches liked what they saw. They said there's some name recognition there. Let's bring him in. And that's super helpful. The other one that popped out to me, he's a guy that was drafted by the Steelers in the 3rd round back in 2017. His name's Cam Sutton. Does that name ring a bell for you?
Must be another brother from Cortland Sutton. That's no.
Nope. No, he was drafted in the 3rd round of the Steelers in 2017. Quite quickly became a regular contributor on their defense, which that says something if you're contributing and playing hard for the Steelers and getting reps because they have a good defense.
Gotcha. Yeah. And the Tua thing is pretty exciting too, by the way. Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't flagging you down. I was doing camera stuff.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were. You never know. Maybe that means we'll see Tua on the sidelines. Hopefully, if we do, that means he's wearing some sort of protective covering around his head because some of these kickers aren't very accurate. We don't want Tua getting taken out on the sideline. That wouldn't be good. But Cam Sutton, he balled out and he earned himself. The Lions signed him going into 2023 season to a 3-year, $33 million deal, which was pretty good. Started all 17 games from the first year with the Lions, and then he blew it. He got a domestic violence charge. He ended up getting arrested. And then the league back in 24 suspended him for 8 games. No one's touched him since. So this is his chance to show that he's learned his lesson and to get another shot at football. So we'll see what comes from that story. We'll see whether he deserves this shot and go from there. I don't think the Houston team's going to be throwing up banners saying, hey, look, we have former Steeler Cam Sutton, but that's where you might know that name from.
Yeah, I do believe in second chances, though. You know, if he made a mistake way back when, and even though it's an egregious mistake, you know, come on in, try to get it right, and come back in. And if you're a good player too, you know, it's going to be very entertaining for the UFL to perform well. And being part of that Gamblers defense is going to be tough because they're already pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't deep dive into him, so I don't know exactly where things stand as far as if he's truly shown that he deserves a second chance or not. Obviously, Houston thinks he does, and things will go from there. All right. The Louisville Kings, that's our next team we're going to take a quick look at. I'm going to mention briefly Jason Bean. I'm only mentioning him because he was the number 1 overall pick in the UFL draft this year. He played quarterback for Kansas. Back in 23, he started for 2.5 seasons. Back in 23, he had a really good season for Kansas, which says something. He threw for 2,100 yards. He had 18 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. That's pretty good. So we'll see if that translates with him being the number 1 overall pick. I imagine he's the opening day starter for Louisville, and we'll go from there. But the name that I think that'll jump out to most people, though, they go, wait, I know that guy. Benny Snell, one of their running backs. I'm hoping they're starting running back. Do you remember, Nick, where he is from?
Pittsburgh.
Yes. He was a fourth-round pick for Pittsburgh back in 2019, and then he played a lot from 2019 to 2022 with them, and then from there he didn't really earn another contract. The Lions picked him up, and then he just kind of washed out. So this is him trying to show off that he's still got some legs. And you know what? You can never have enough running backs because you never know when one's going to go down. So this is hopefully a chance for him to showcase himself and get into a camp next year. The only former Longhorn I could really find, Tariq Black, he was a Longhorn back in 2020, is also playing in Louisville. But that's all I got there. Orlando Storm have St. Louis. They don't really have, but hopefully though they still have a quality team. But they didn't have any names that jumped out. But the biggest thing that they lost is they lost their head coach.
Yeah, and that is by far who moved over to Orlando Storm. But I'll tell you one thing. I find it really funny that the no-name teams, for the common fan, tend to be really good. You got the DC Defenders and so far the St. Louis Battlehawks, historically really good spring league teams. So it's an opportunity for new names to show up, and there's a lot of entertainment out there.
And the Battlehawks, they better hope they got to win out the gate because they have the most diehard fan base in the league. DC Defenders might say, hey, wait a second. We've got a beer snake over here. And they do. But historically, the Battlehawks are who show up year in and year out. So, but the league asked him to move to Orlando. Anthony Beck moved to Orlando. Also pretty sure that's where Repoli is from. So they're kind of sort of taken over as the flagship team in the league in a way that San Antonio kind of was for a little bit because of the Rock and the Brahmas and all that. So, Orlando, I think the league wants Orlando to win and win quickly. And that's a market where there's no reason why you can't be pulling fans in because they're in Orlando. There's a lot of people always in Orlando for a lot of things, needing something to do at night, get them into a game. So hopefully that works out. Speaking of them, the two names that popped up, one, KJ Hamler, wide receiver. He was in the league last year too, I believe, in the UFL. He's pretty famous as far as he balled out for Buffalo and Denver for a little bit, but he had some injuries. So he's back again, trying to show now he's still a reliable target, but also at the same time, he's starting to get older. So I'd probably put him more in the category that I put some of those other guys in, like Taco Charlton, that he's just not ready to hang it up yet. Honestly, though, probably the guy that has the best chance of taking over as the best quarterback in this league, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, quarterback.
Careful,
you know where that name's from?
I do not. I'm back.
Cleveland Browns. He started several games over the last few years for the Cleveland Browns and often showcased himself really well. He's a very mobile quarterback, and he's decently accurate with his arm. He's someone that he can come in and potentially take over. He is far more mobile than your boy Luis Perez.
Right.
So I would already but that being said, apparently he's not like the fully entrenched starter. They got another guy that's apparently also pretty good. So we'll see. But that guy's more traditional. So we'll see if it's more of those. Do you have two quarterbacks for none, or what you got going on there in Orlando? But I'd imagine Dorian Thompson-Robinson could very easily take over the Bryce Perkins role for this league.
Yeah, and Anthony Beck loves himself a mobile quarterback. He did that with Silver, and he knows how to work with them. So if you got legs and you're still working on accuracy or whatever, he could thrive in any quarterback could thrive in an Anthony Beck offense. It's just really well structured. So if you got the talent, I bet you he's just going to go with the talent and go with him.
Yep. So that's where we're at.
Well, that's so the big names that are supposed to draw people in. I hope Rob has convinced a lot of you NFL fans or college football fans to get on board with this because it is a wonderful product. And if you start following some athletes that you previously liked for whatever reason, get them into this, get into cheering for this team, this league, you're going to find out pretty quickly that it's highly talented. It's good football. You don't need gimmicks. I don't know why we're doing gimmicks, but overall, it's a really good product. And, I'm really happy. I can't wait to get more people on board. How do you think they're doing on the marketing front, by the way, Rob?
It seems better this year. I can't speak a ton to it because being in Austin, we're not in one of the local markets. I'm really curious. I don't know if you have any friends out in Dallas that you could ask about. I'm curious the marketing that they're doing within the local markets to get people excited, get people in there, besides just advertising through social channels, through TV, through Fox and ESPN and all that. But I'm wondering, are they really getting in there? Because one of the things that was tough for fan investment was with everyone being in a hub. And Nick, are they still all in a central hub again this year? Do you know? I haven't seen much about that.
I have not. I would assume they're staying in Arlington. I'll look that up while you're working.
Cool.
But yeah,
So,
let me look at that.
because longtime fans of the pod will know one of our biggest gripes about, like, we understood the logic of saving money last year and having them all based in Arlington. But then because of that, and because the teams, even the home teams, always flying out to play the game, staying in a hotel, they're not in the community throughout the week. And therefore, you're missing out on key opportunities for players to go to schools, go to food drives, go to these different, do events at, car lots, things like that, where the community go out, be in the community, get the community excited, give them a personal connection and reason to then tune into the game. They're not visiting kids at hospitals in these local markets. And, that's how you build the grassroots of the league, is you get those connections. So again, not sure if they're in a hub or not this year, but hopefully they do, and Nick will have that answer for us in a second once I stop talking. But hopefully, even if they are, they find a way to connect personally to these markets.
They are 100% in the hub. They're still traveling from Arlington to the respected games. So they're trying to save money, and man, money is going to have to be something that they're going to have to save because they, as someone pointed out, they lost 60 million last year. So it's going to have to be something, but I'm right there with you. You got to get to the local grounds. You asked me earlier if the Dallas sports fans are getting it. To my knowledge, I never hear anything about the UFL, so I don't know if it's touching base with them at all. I know I listen to the local radio station, and I have not heard any UFL talk. That's probably not a good indicator. The only one that reached out to me and mentioned the UFL is my brother, who doesn't even watch football. He just likes attending games. He's just really interested in the atmosphere. And he reached out to me and goes, "Hey, they're playing in Frisco. You want to go?" So we got that. I don't know if it's from marketing, but it's something. He's aware.
Nice. And that is one of those things. If you are listening to us and you're in one of these local markets, you're in Orlando, you're in Dallas, Houston, etc., go to one of these games. They're cheap. You can get in the door in Dallas for $13. You can get really good seats if you want them for between $35 and $50. So it's actually reasonable to take a family out to a game, go with some buddies, do a little tailgating, have a fun day in decent spring weather. Get yourself to a game. We will be going at some point this season. It hasn't been officially decided what game yet. Most likely, obviously, to a Dallas game or instead of a Houston game. And we'll be hopefully doing a pregame show live from a parking lot right outside the stadium. But yeah, get yourself to a game. It's live's almost always better.
It's a fun atmosphere. I've been to a UFL game, I think 3 times total, and I loved every single game I went to. It's a blast to watch, and it's always fun live. And it's almost, and I know this isn't a selling point for the UFL. It's kind of nice that the crowd is actually a little tampered down because all the players see you, they hear you, and they interact with you too, and which is really good for the league too, because it gives that opportunity for those fans, those loyal fans, to be in touch with the players that they like. And it's a great opportunity too. You get to watch your heroes close and in person if you're a big UFL fan.
Yeah. So I think, Nick, the last thing we wanted to touch on for Homer headlines was more under the category of you hope all news is good news, even if what's being said isn't so good. Coming straight from the ESPN network, which is the craziest thing.
Yeah, we had Pat McAfee actually talking UFL. Reviewing the tape, it didn't look as bad as everyone's making it out to be, but I'm going to go ahead and post it and get their reaction on it. And Rob, I want to hear your take on what McAfee had to say.
Kickers and the specialists in this league.
That start,
whatever they call it. Are we worried at all that the USXFL may have spent their entire league year budget on getting these guys to perform? And
Maybe. You got to remember, last time they played, they lost $60 million. So picking up Nelly and the St. Lunatics for halftime is nothing.
What's
in
another
the middle of that.
What's it going to look like, though?
Go ahead and charge it to the game, says Rapoli.
I hope they can fill the stands, because you know how it is. It's tough to play anyway at halftime with the stadium.
Russell Dickerson's filling the stadium.
Fill the stands.
Smart business move by them. Bringing these at.
You're right.
Make it 2 minute
I
quarters.
like that they're trying to make it an event.
I do too.
I have no service. I can't.
Why? Okay, diehard UFL people online. Oh my goodness! Stop being mad about everything. McAfee didn't say anything bad. He pointed out that they lost $60 million last year. That's a public fact. So there's no reason why they shouldn't be spending money trying to make it an opening day weekend event, which I actually think is a great thing. It helps get butts in seats to put. Hey, if you're a fan of Ludacris, and either you haven't seen him in a while or you've never seen him live, that's even though he doesn't play the big venues anymore, that's probably the cheapest way you're ever going to see a quick 7 to 10 minute concert from Ludacris, is to go to that game. And then maybe they're going to get more fans. Same with Gucci Mane. Ty Myers is up and coming in the country scene. Smart get in Dallas. And now because now for some of these guys, like the Wallies, the Ludacrises, they've got their audience. It's fun. They want to do it. They're getting a paycheck. But for some of these other guys, like a Ty Myers, it's a two-way street. They're also branching out to a new audience as well. And that's smart. And I know whoever his little whiny assistant was over there was like, oh, they don't even fill the stadium. Well, one of the smart things they've done, we talked about it, they've moved to smaller stadiums. Plus, what I saw, at least when I looked at tickets for the Dallas game this weekend, they're only letting you buy on one side. So they're making sure what they're using is going to look as full as possible. And then they'll probably, if needed, open other spots. They probably don't need to in week one. They probably have to prove some things to some people. But, I will say, though, Mr. Sidekick over there, ESPN's a home network for this league. So if you're sitting there trying to dump on it, that's not a smart take. I don't think McAfee was. I think he was just kind of saying it like it was. So UFL fans, stop being so prickly.
I was right there with them when I heard it, and I saw the quote posted. I was like, oh, geez, Pat McAfee's crapping on the league. And then I had to cut the tape to put it on here, and I should have just texted you, Rob, that I was like, it's actually not bad. He's right. I mean, everything he's saying is accurate, and he even said that I'm glad they're putting him out there. So I don't understand why we're sensitive. We're a sensitive bunch, I guess, and they didn't like what Pat McAfee had to say, but he didn't say anything wrong. I didn't get offended by it, and he's right. They were down the hole $60 million, and he's also right. What's another 10 million more to go ahead and get more people out there? You have a billionaire now signed on to help marketing, and that's exactly what they're doing over there. I like what they're doing with the halftime show. Don't worry about Pat McAfee, guys. In fact, he talked about it. That alone should be good enough for any UFL fan.
Right there with the Hold the Rock thing. Like, come on, guys. Don't be so prickly and like, oh, I know this cool thing before everyone else does, and then hate on all the newcomers just because. Because guess what? If you don't get newcomers, this league could be gone in 2 years.
Could be. I mean, we need them. We need them bad, and we cannot be rude to anyone coming on here that's new. So I'm right there with you, Rob. It just wasn't. It's a nothing burger that fans were just freaking out about.
For sure.
Are we? Do you think we're ready? You ready to?
I was gonna say we can either go to picks or we can touch on outside the UFL. I'm down for either.
Which one do you want? Which one do you want, Rob? I got both in the chamber, ready to go for you.
Let's go picks. We're talking UFL. Let's go picks.